my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop. Okay, so today I've got a fairly simple job to do. I've got this Yamaha FX370C semi-acoustic guitar, and it's in for a restring. Okay, so as I said, a pretty simple job. And the guy is only paying me to supply and fit a new set of strings, nothing else. But whenever I do a string change on a guitar or any instrument, I always go above and beyond. I always do more than is expected of me, more than they pay me for, a lot more than they pay me for, to be honest, but I prefer to do a proper job when I do these kinds of jobs. So I always, do extra. To me, there's no point in putting a shiny, brand new set of strings on a grubby, grimy old guitar. So I always, clean them up. So what I'm going to be doing with this, once I've removed the strings, is I'm going to clean all the frets because they're pretty dull and lifeless. So I'm going to clean and polish the frets. I'm going to clean and oil the fretboard. It's actually not in bad shape. And I'm going to, clean the headstock, the tuners, and the body and the neck. So this guitar from Yamaha FX370C, they're quite a recent model. I wouldn't have thought this is more than a few months old, to be honest. Maybe a year or two, I don't know. It does look to be in an overall pretty good shape. I've had a quick look at it, but not a thorough look. So it does still have the plastic protective film on the pick guard, so I'm going to leave that on. Obviously the owner wanted that left on. I often do myself, to be honest. It just, gives it a longer life. So the tools I'm going to need for this particular job, there's not that many really. I've got my string winder. I've got two sets of cutters to cut the strings away. I've got bridge pin puller. Actually, I've got two of them. This is the one I normally use, but it's got quite a broad or thick end on it. Now this little one here was actually a free gift with something that I bought. I can't even remember what it was, a little gimmicky one, but it actually works really well. You can sometimes pull the bridge pins with these if you're very careful. It doesn't look as though they're going to be too much of a problem. But what I have got handy is some spare bridge pins, because you never know, they often break. What else have we got? I've got a 10mm spanner, just to check and tighten, if necessary, the tuners. And I've got these fretboard guards, I guess you call them, that you put individually over each fret whilst you're, cleaning and polishing them. I may not use them actually, because I'm going to work on the fretboard itself as well. So it doesn't really matter if I mess up the fretboard, because I'm going to clean all that up anyway. And what I use for that, I've got here, still in its wrapper, a brand new single-edged razor blade. We've got my digital calipers to check the gauge of the strings that are currently on it, and I'm going to replace them with whatever gauge they are. So I've got a set of 10s, a set of 11s, a set of 9s, a set of 10s, and a set of 11s. This is just one of the brands that I keep in stock. This is the one that he chose. So let's just have a bit of a look over the guitar before I make a start on it. I'm just checking the straightness of the neck, which looks pretty much perfect, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's any problems there, so I don't need to adjust the truss rod. I'm not going to do anything about intonation and string action. That's way above and beyond what I'm doing here, so I'm not even going to check it. I'm sure it's fine as it is. The owner probably, likes it as it is, so it does look to me as though the action's a little bit high, but like I said, I'm not doing that. As I said, the fretboard itself looks to be in pretty good shape. There's no gouges or dings or cracks or anything. It's in really good shape. The headstock all looks good. Tuners look fine. Let's see what else. I'll just check the body itself to see if I can see any potential issues. It doesn't look as though there's no problem at all with the neck joint. If it was loose in any way at all, then you would see cracking down here at the seam, and there's absolutely no problem there. Don't see any damage to the body. A few little, scratches and dings, but that's just from being played. So you've got your built-in jack plug in the strap button at the bottom. I don't particularly like those, but I think they're a standard fitting for many guitars. There is a little bit of a belly bulge there. That's a bit concerning. I'm just going to get my straight edge and see just how severe that is, because that's not normal. Okay, let's just get my straight edge. So I'm not sure if I've shown this before. I think I did in one of my shop updates and tools. I've got a straight edge here, which one side is straight and the other side is notched, so that you can check the level of the fretboard, either without frets on this edge or with frets, and you use this edge. But I can also use this to check this. Oh my goodness, the belly bulge. Yeah, it's pretty severe actually. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that is substantial. But again, I'm not doing anything about that. I was just curious. I mean, I can see the belly bulge at the back side of the bridge, and with checking that with my straight edge, my goodness, that is substantial. But like I said, I ain't touching that. I just want to have a look though inside the guitar, around the bridge area, to see if there's any broken or loose braces. There shouldn't be. I mean, as I said, I don't think this particular guitar is all that old. But, there's definitely a significant belly bulge there, which would explain the high action as well. I can fix that, but it's a lot more expensive than what he's paying me for just to change the strings. So I've got my internal inspection mirror, which has also got a light on it. So let's just take a look inside. You're not really going to see what I'm doing, but I'm just checking inside the guitar to see if I can see any obvious problems with loose or broken braces. And what I can see is that the bridge plate is pretty poor. It's rough. It looks as though it's plywood. I can now see the brace at the bottom end, which appears to be fully attached and not broken, but where it meets, so we've got what do you call it? I think lattice or cross bracing in this guitar. So some of them go one way and some of them go diagonally the opposite way. And where one meets the other, they're not even touching. So yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's fantastically built. But I don't know how much these guitars retail at. I had a quick look online and it does say that they're like $400, which is about, what, £350, which seems quite a lot to me, but there you go. So the bridge plate itself, I can't tell, but I think, yeah, it's plywood. We've got a plywood bridge plate in this guitar, which is never ideal. They're not strong enough. You need solid wood for the bridge plate. Okay, well, that's that. Like I said, I'm not doing anything about that. you know, in reality, $400 for a new guitar is relatively cheap. It's not, you know, these are not high-end guitars, but they are generally quite good guitars. So there you go, that's that. Okay, now I'm having a close look at the bridge, and already I can see a problem. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but where the bridge pins go, the bridge is cracked all the way down the middle of there. And that is due to that poor quality bridge plate inside. Because what's happened, because that bridge plate is made of ply and it flexes, we've got the tension of the strings pulling up on the bridge, we've got that belly bulge there, and because of that pulling upwards and bowing and bending, it's cracked the bridge right the way across the middle. It doesn't seem to extend past the bridge pins themselves, so it's not the entire bridge, but I think it's only a matter of time before that does get worse, and he may well be bringing this back to me for a bridge replacement, which will be fun. Okay, so just interesting to see, you know, what issues a guitar has, and there are one or two with this guitar, although I think it should be all right. I might well put a lighter gauge of strings on it than are currently on it, just to, you know, to try and relieve some of the tension on that bridge. So I'm just going to switch on my calipers and set them to imperial, zero them out, and just measure the gauge of these strings. So the low E is 47 and the high E, what? That's not right, 25. Let's measure that again. Yeah, so the low E, actually it looks, the low E is a 47. Let's measure that high E again. That's weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm getting strange readings there. Let me just measure that again. Yeah, that's definitely a 47. Can't get straight on the string, that's the problem. Okay. I'm getting strange readings there. that's measuring a 14. 12? 12. It's measuring a 12. That's a bit... I think it might have some odd strings on here. Because normally a 47 on the low E will be a 9 or 10 on the high E, but it seems to be measuring a 12. Let me just measure a couple more of the strings if I can. As I said, the customer did request a set of 10s on this. I'm not sure if that's going to be the right strings for this or not. Let me just check a string. What is going on? $40 to $41. Okay. What to do? Should I go the 1047s or the 945s? I need to try and get an accurate reading on the low E, the high E. Now it's measuring a 9. 9 or 10. It's hovering. Yeah, it's a 10. Okay. Right, so there's currently a 10 gauge on there, a set of 10s. I'm not going to decide until I've got the strings off and had a better look at that bridge. I'm just thinking it might be a better idea to put the 9s on there instead of the 10s, but let's get the strings off and get the strings off first, and we'll take it from there. Now, I'm going to set up the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I'm unable to pause this camera while filming, so you're coming along for a bumpy ride right now. So just bear with me. Let's see, let's put that one up. Sorry if you suffer with seasickness. Oh, that's a bit wobbly, it should be fine. Okay, let's tilt it down. What's going on? There we go. Okay, how's that? Oh. Sorry, 1 second. Let's just try and get that a bit better. That's better. Okay. Now, as I've said before, this camera, when I've got it angled like this, the little monitor screen shows me the picture upside down, so everything is back to front and upside down for me. Okay, so first things first, just make myself a bit of space. First thing I've got to do is loosen all the strings, because they're all more or less up to tension. Okay, so I'm just going to use this string winder just for speed. I don't need to take the tension all the way off. I'm going to cut these strings off anyway. It's just this string winder just speeds things up a bit. It's a bit awkward for me doing this right-handed, but it's just so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Right, they're all loose enough now. I can actually cut the strings. It's just a lot quicker. Okay. Right, let's take them off the headstock end first. Get rid of those. Yeah, they're in a pretty poor state. Oh, that's interesting. So the low E is actually bound up in the fret slot. Oh, I might need to open that up a bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just put those down there for now. Okay, next, pull out the bridge pins and get the strings out the bottom end, bridge end. Oh, there's my bridge pin puller. Right. Okay, so I'm just going to have this block with an old bridge on it, just to set the bridge pins in the same position. It doesn't really matter too much normally, but you know, just to avoid any problems. Bridge pin, that one looks all right. They're coming out pretty easily, so it's all good. Shall I zoom you in a bit? Focus. Is that focused? Isn't great, is it? Autofocus, do your work, come on. Oh dear. This camera is something else. Okay. So, it doesn't look as though I can zoom you in too much, unfortunately. I've had so many issues with these cameras that I bought. Buy cheap, buy twice, that's what people say, isn't it? But I absolutely refuse to spend what was the equivalent of about £500 on a professional setup. These cameras will do for me. Right, so let's just pull out all the old strings, get rid of those. I'm going to just reach inside and pull off a little bit of wood that's on the bottom of the bridge plate, and it's 100% definitely plywood. It's a shame, but there you go. The saddle seems to be fairly well fitting. It does wobble slightly, but not too bad. I'm just going to take it out and have a look at the pickup underneath, make sure everything's all right. Yeah, it looks fine. There's actually, you're not going to see this, I shouldn't think, but there's an insert inside the saddle slot that the pickup sits in, and that's where you get the problem with the bridge not fitting too well. And this is something I've not seen before. On the bottom of the saddle, so that's the top, so the bottom is all notched. That's unusual, I've not seen that before. Anyway, all seems good. That's fine. Have I done that the right way? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's have a closer look at this bridge. Yeah, it's definitely cracked all the way through the bridge pin holes. Difficult to tell how far down the bridge the crack actually goes. I mean, it is quite a thick bridge, so yeah. I mean, it's not a huge issue right now, but it could become so. Yeah. Okay. Let's not worry too much about that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the frets and fretboard. Let's just zoom back out a bit. Ooh, that's in. Whoa. Okay, so just have a look at this nut as well. As I said, the low E was binding a little bit in there, so I don't really want to file it out or anything. I just want to make sure there's no debris or anything in there. And one trick you can use to relieve binding of the strings in the slot is to put a little bit pencil graphite in the slot, so it lubricates it. Run my pencil through these slots. That's fine. I'm not going to do any more with that. Okay, so to clean the frets, I'm just going to use some sandpaper. Let's find the right grit. I don't want to go too rough with that. I mean, there are a few very slight notches in some of these frets at this end. That's not too bad. Okay, let's find. Oh. No, not 120. That's way too rough. I need to sort through my sandpaper so I know what I've got. Okay. What have we got there? 600. Need that after. Out before I got to this stage. Okay, let's just use a bit of that, that'll be fine. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to worry about the fretboard because I'm going to clean that up anyway. So I'm just going to use a piece of sandpaper and just go over the frets just to clean them up, just lightly. And this is a really quick way of doing this. Quick and effective, to be honest. I'm not going to do a, you know, all singing, all dancing job on this because I'm really not being paid for this. I just want to make it look a bit tidier. Go over the edges as well. Brush. I don't think I'm even going to polish these, to be honest. It's just too time consuming. Customer's not really going to appreciate what I've done to it, so I'm not going too mad. Right, so I'll go over again now with some 600, just to bring the sheen back a bit. Well, I should have shown you these before, never mind, they were dull and grimy.